What's up, everybody? What's up, what's up, what's up? Come on in.
What is happening?
Come on in and talk to us. All right.
Is this, which one's this? Which one's Forever Love?
This one.
This one? Mm-hmm. So we should be looking at that one.
Okay. So, we're going to upload this one to the YouTube.
So why did you put that one right here?
Because we still be uploading that one to the YouTube.
So we might as well upload this one.
It don't matter. What's up, everybody?
Hey, y'all.
Come on in. Come on in. Come on in.
It's
Been a few weeks.
It's been a while.
The Super Bowl.
Super Bowl.
Her birthday.
My birthday.
So, it's been a little while. Hopefully, everybody's doing good.
Hope you're feeling good, feeling great.
So, as we get into this topic tonight, dating after a breakup, we want to set some kind of preliminary, things. Of course, with a topic like this, it's always one of those things to where, we want to have a criteria and a preference level. Not preference. Preference is the wrong word. You want to have a criteria or a foundation laid. So, with a topic like this, everybody's situation is different, right? Everybody's dynamics are different. So everything we talk about, everything we interact about, you have to make sure that it applies to your situation. You have to make sure that it is in line with your perspectives in terms of what your relationship is dealing with and what's going on. And so I want to make sure that I say that because we may say some things tonight in regards to dating after a breakup that might not apply to you specifically. And I want to make sure that you don't take any information out of context and misapply it, Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right. So
Your comments are not working on here.
So while my wife tries to get our comments up, there we go.
Okay.
What's up, Clara? What's up, everybody? What's up, Colin? So let's set this conversation up first. Number one, dating in the 21st century alone, I've heard, because I ain't got that testimony. But dating in the 21st century, or at least,
you're still in the 21st century.
Technically,
you
yeah.
Me, so
technically, yeah. I guess what I'm really thinking about is like within the last few years, it's gotten worse from what I hear.
Gotcha.
So within the last few years, dating has gotten a lot worse, and so from what people have told me, and I'm just going to share some things, and then you can share some things. So what I've heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, the dating world today sucks. That's what I've heard. What do y'all say? Tell us some of your input on that. My wife is getting the light set up. So kind of talk to us in the comments. Is the dating world... Oh, now we popping. Is the dating world really trash nowadays? Like, is the dating world really as bad as it seems? What, on your page? Mm-hmm. Is the dating world really as... So some of the other things I've heard about the dating world. Miss Lisa, what's up, Miss Lisa? Miss Lisa, yes. Tell us how the dating world is trash right now. Clara, tell us how the dating world is trash right now. I'm gonna share some more of the things that I've heard. So I've heard that the dating world, in terms of the guys, that there aren't a lot of great guys out here. I've heard that a lot of the women are gold diggers now. A lot of the women, and I don't mean gold digger as in just looking for money, but looking more so of somebody with status, somebody to really, put them on, somebody to really flex with. A few years ago, the most popular term was, what can I say? It was, I
don't know what you're talking about, so I can't help you here.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. What did they say? A few years ago, it was... what's it called? Not couple goals, But power couple.
Power couple?
Power couple.
Yeah.
My wife was no help.
Because didn't know what you were talking about. You know?
Power couple. And so, you know, the whole term of power couple became popular. And then also when it comes to the dating world, people were looking for, you know, people on certain status levels or whatever the case may be. So that's just kind of like a small synopsis of the dating world that I've heard. On top of, you know, from the women's side, well, from the men's side, one of the other complaints was too that women are indecisive, women don't know what they want, women are confusing, women are basically a bunch of dudes now. I mean, it's a lot. And then on the guy's side, some of the other things, my wife is no help right now. She is so busy trying to do something else. But what were some of the things? We are now live on 3 different platforms.
Yes.
Oh,
okay.
yes.
All right, so we good now. All right. I just wanted to try this out to see how it works. I know we got a little crooked on my side, but I'm going to erase this anyway. But I just wanted to, anyway.
Well, we should filter all the views. It don't matter. So, submissiveness, yes.
All to you? All to your page? There's nobody on the...
Submissiveness, right? That was a big issue for men. Women are submissive. But then the women will say, well, men ain't worth submitting to. So it's just all these different dynamics to where it's like, this camera ain't even straight. Like, it's all these different dynamics, right? To where the dating world translates to it's bad out here. So kind of talk to us a little bit. And it's harder to meet people. Let's expand on that real quick. Is it harder to meet people? Is it harder to meet people simply because of the pandemic? Or is this even pre-pandemic? Is this like before the pandemic also? And so...
You want me to get rid of mine? Is this in the way?
I have become way more independent than I'd like to be. I can't join with a guy that isn't doing anything to allow me to do less. Okay. So we have all of these different ranges of perspectives, right? Of dating after a breakup. Now, specifically, dating after a breakup is very different than just dating in and of itself. So dating already being a difficult thing in our generation, right? What makes it even more difficult is dating after a breakup. Yeah, locks are beautiful. So for all of my people, my married people also, right? Because in your marriage, you might have a hard time dating, you know, nowadays in your marriage. You know, you might have kids and jobs and all sorts of stuff. You don't even date anymore, right?
Hi,
What's up, Toya? And so let's get into this topic. When we talk about dating after a breakup, there's a few things we want to assess. Number one, what is your mental state? What is your mental state after a breakup? Again, let me just lay this, just for those that are just coming on. When you have a break, everybody's situation is different. So this information you have to apply to your situation appropriately. Okay? Appropriately. Say it with us. Appropriately. You have to apply it to your situation appropriately. But when dating after a breakup, oh, what's up, Dalton? Dating is not the issue. Expectations are where the issues are. Okay, that's a great point. The expectations are an issue when it comes to dating. That's a great point. Let me type this in here real quick. I'm gonna type that in my note because I want to expand on that. But again, you got to apply this information to your situation. So let's lay some groundwork. When you're dating after a breakup, you have to assess your mental state. Are you angry? Are you bitter? Are you frustrated? Are you irritable? Are you disappointed? You have to really assess where your mental state is, because if you start dating again and you're not in the right mentality, guess what's going to end up happening?
Are you depressed?
Are you depressed?
Are you suicidal?
Are you suicidal? Are you jumping into dating to try to get over somebody? Are you lonely? All of these different questions you have to assess. Now, here comes my biggest issue with people with dating, especially after a breakup. People don't know how to be honest, okay? People don't know how to be honest, but I'll get to that in a second. When you're dating after a breakup, you have to really assess your mental state. And your mental state is directly connected to your emotional state. So if your mindset is not intact, your emotions probably won't be either. And when you go into the dating world with a mental state that's not healthy or intact or rooted or consistent, your emotions are going to be all over the place. And on top of that, what's going to end up happening is any little thing can trigger you because you're not in a healthy space. And and this is what I'm seeing in this generation a lot. A lot of unhealthy dating. There's a lot of unhealthy dating. And there are people who are married also who dated unhealthy, got married unhealthy, and now have unhealthy marriages.
Yeah.
So this whole dynamic of a conversation has many layers to it, right? Now, me and my wife, we're going to talk about a few different points in terms of how to go about dating after a breakup. But I think part of the conversation is really assessing, what life is like after a breakup. So I'll speak for myself first. There's been times after breakups in my life where I was upset, I was, frustrated, I was sad, I was depressed, I was, a lot of different things. And one thing that I learned even as a young man, that you gotta, as a young man, right? I ain't old, but it's just that, what's up, Mike? That's true. Too much baggage, right? A lot of us carry baggage after a breakup. Emotional baggage, mental baggage, psychological baggage, spiritual baggage, you name it. We're bag people. Erykah Badu.
Lady,
I knew my wife was going to sing it, right?
You gon' hurt your back.
Right?
Carrying all them bags.
Dragging all them bags.
Can't
like that.
drag all them bags like that. You can't talk about nobody knowing any lyrics to any words until...
Quick short story. I don't remember the words to a lot of my songs, so I've been practicing them to get ready for some performances. End of story. That's the short backstory. So back on topic, as I had no room to correct my wife on lyrics, right? The reality is when we're dealing with dating after a breakup, we have to assess our mental state, our emotional state, our spiritual state. Because like Mike said, a lot of people carry too much baggage after the breakup. And so these are not any of my points, but I do want to say this while it's on my mind. If you do not know how to forgive and let go, you don't need to be dating anybody. And I'm talking to you. If you don't know how to forgive or let go, you don't need to be dating right now. Because what's going to happen is you're going to be on a date. You're going to be talking to different people. And things are going to trigger you. And you're going to either overlook it, which means you're going to undervalue it. Or you're going to overdo it because, it's like you're doing too much. So what I mean is there won't be a balance there. You might be on a date with somebody and they may order without asking you what you want to eat. Something stupid. And because that reminds you of what your ex did, it triggers you. And now you trying to call them selfish. And you going through all these different things mentally. And, or the woman you're on a date with, she might say something. And you might remember that your old girl said the same thing. And now you're like, well, she going to cheat on me. If you don't know how to forgive and let go, okay? Matter of fact, I just thought of a new point.
We're going to be here all night, y'all. Just kidding.
Right? If you don't know how to forgive and let go, you don't need to be dating. So let that be a rule of thumb, okay? And if you are dating somebody and you realize that some of these things apply to you, you need to start over. You need to say, you know what? I need a clean slate. Let's have a conversation. I might be taking you through some things that I don't need to take you through. You might be, and I've seen this many a times, right? I've seen many a times where people will get out of a relationship and start dating again, and the person they're dating will be a really good person, like a really genuine person. But the reality is, right, you're going to ruin something that could possibly be great for you. You're going to ruin something that could possibly be great for you if you don't take some time to assess your own self. So my wife is zoned out and tuned out. So let's jump right into this so she can come back in and be tuned in. All right. I know my wife, y'all. So watch this. Matter of fact, I'm going to let her go with point number one.
So I sent it to you.
I can't get it. I can't.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm going to let her jump in with her point number one so she can come back in and zone back in.
Yes, because your introductions be so long, and I'm like, can we get to the point? No, I'm kidding. Okay. All right. So I would say after a breakup of dating someone, I think number one, evaluate why you broke up in the first place.
That's a great point.
You look at it as, now, a lot of us will point the finger saying, hey, it's her fault. Hey, it's such and such fault. Or some of us will just say it's like, hey, it was all my fault. I should have, coulda, woulda. But you always have to look at the deeper end or the deeper root of why you broke up in the first place.
That's a great point.
You know, where were you emotionally? How did the relationship start? Why did it end? Like, what in the middle of the relationship really made you really think that it was okay to continue in the relationship? So when you think about it, like when you break up with someone, you're like, oh, I can't stand them because, you know, they cheated on me. Okay, well, that's a valid excuse. But did you see the red signs before they cheated? You know, were you looking at the red flags? Like, were you looking at these things that make you think like, oh yeah, they're gonna do this? Did you get into the relationship knowing that they cheated on their other partner or spouse, and then you were the other woman or man, and now you're in a relationship with them, and they're doing the same thing to you?
Great
so
points.
It's so many nuances when it comes to why did you break up? What was the point of you being in that relationship?
You know, that's an amazing point. And I'm going to piggyback off that. If we can assess why we broke up in the first place, then we can assess what we need to fix going into the next relationship.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? Because for a lot of people, if you don't know why you broke up, you're probably going to go into the next situation doing the same exact things. Mm-hmm. So, for example, if you don't know that you're the problem or part of the problem, you're going to go into another situation assuming that, you know, your stuff don't stink. You're going to go into a situation assuming that you're a little bit better than you think you are. Like, for example, just thinking about my wife's point, I think about it like this. If I break up with somebody or somebody breaks up with me, and let's just say the reason we break up is because we are insecure people, right? So the insecurity leads to a lack of trust.
Oh, I'm like, huh?
Right?
How do you break up from that?
Like, you know, the lack of trust, and it leads to arguments like, you know, who is that person, you know, who you texting, or, you know, stuff like that.
Gotcha.
So that insecurity leads to a lack of trust. That lack of trust leads to a breakup, right?
Dang, I've really been out the game for a long time.
Yeah, I know.
Like, I just think about that, like, huh? Like,
Yeah.
you really break up with people?
Yeah.
What? I mean,
you
really
blessed.
get broke?
You blessed. This is good.
Oh
You sitting
gosh.
beside greatness.
Okay.
Pride. So listen. Right? It's like if we break up over insecurities that lead to a lack of trust, that lead to a breakup. Mm-hmm. If I get into another dating scenario or relationship, but I've never addressed my insecurities from wherever it came from, childhood, ex, wherever it was rooted or wherever it came from, I'm going into another situation expecting and almost looking for the same outcome, almost ignorantly. So it's like, did you want to say something?
No, it's funny we're talking about that. You said insecurities. You brought that as an example. It just reminded me of, I was talking to someone. They were telling me about like their husband. Well, they asked me the question. They was like, so, how do you feel? So does Marlon? Does he like you having male friends? Like, does he feel some kind of way about having male friends? And I was like, well, I was like, no, not necessarily. I was like, he doesn't get jealous of me talking to male friends. Like, I don't have too many that I have, but I was like, I do have one best friend, and you know, that's a whole nother story. But I was like, but in itself, it's not like a thing. And then she went in the whole thing about, you know, how her husband and, you know, how they felt some kind of way and all these things. But it was just interesting, like how she asked me that question, like it happens in everybody's relationship, or like to find an open ground to, like, when it comes to insecurities, like, you know, can your spouse be upset about, you know, they almost broke up over, you know, the spouse being upset about her having a conversation with the old friend, like somebody that basically they know each other, but she got closer with him more than the husband got closer. So it was like one of those, like, how does
was the old friend a friend of both of theirs?
Yeah. So
and she got closer to him.
She got closer to him than he did.
Yeah, I can see how that can create a dynamic. You know, I know we're not talking about that, but
I don't know. It's just
yeah, but it's like these.
I was just putting that as a scenario, because you know, people,
those situations. If this makes sense, those situations come up in relationships and during dating if it's not addressed individually. And one of the things I want to highlight, individuals, individuals don't do the personal work to get themselves in line, to get themselves at the best. It's like a car, right? A car or anything that you use or need, right? You want it to be working and operating at its highest level, at its optimum level, right? And us as humans, as individuals, relationships are our highest currency in the world, on the planet. Relationships, in my humble opinion, are the greatest, most important currency on the planet. And so you as an individual, the question becomes, are you, well, you know, I don't want to get into that whole dynamic, but the whole word of the year now is high value, right? With this guy, Kevin Samuels. That's a whole nother conversation. She don't know who that is. I'll show you him later. But it's like you want to be operating at a high level as an individual. You want to make sure you are the best individual that you can be. You want to make sure that you are the best spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, wife, companion that you can be. TryForeverLove.com. Here to service all of your relationship needs. I'm telling you, invest in your future. Invest in yourself. Invest in yourself. But back to our regularly scheduled programming. The reality is you want to be the best individual that you could possibly be. And TryForeverLove.com can help you become that person. To be the best boyfriend, girlfriend, wife, husband that you could ever imagine. I guarantee. Just try it. Just visit TryForeverLove.com. All right. Now, Dalton. Oh, it leads back to expectations. That it does, right? So going into these dating situations, right? Would you say, I'm going to ask my wife a question. Would you say expectations are an important thing to put on the table before you get serious in a dating situation?
Heck yeah. I think it's very important because, I mean, that will determine if you want to be in the relationship or if you don't.
So let me ask you this. Do you think people are actually going to pay attention to the expectations laid on the table?
The people that you're presenting to? So
let's just say two people meet and they like, man, this person is so fine, or this girl is banging, like she looks so good. And your expectation is, I want to be married. But the other person is like, well, I don't know if I want to be married. Do you think they're going to walk away at that moment? I think some people will. I think most people won't.
I mean, most people won't because they think that it's going to be different. Or
they can change their mind.
Yeah, they could change their mind, especially women. We probably think we can change the man's mind, you know. But
ladies, let me explain something to y'all.
Oh gosh. Oh, I'm not in the game. What am I talking about? But sorry, ladies.
I know you think your pom pom and your poom poom gonna change stuff. I
mean,
I know you think that booty gonna make. I know. I know you think the jiggling booty gonna make people, but let me explain something to you. It's 2021. Booty come a dime a dozen. Not only can you get it for free, you can basically pay for it whenever you want.
You get it for free?
Whoever you want.
What you get it for free for?
Oh, there's plenty of people giving it up for free now. Don't get it twisted. You ain't been out the game that long. Come on now.
All right.
But the reality is this. The reality is that for women who still think that they can change a man or put it on a man and kind of entrap him, we living in different times. We just living in different times. It may happen once every blue moon, but it ain't like back in the day, right? There's more dynamics to the situation. And fellas, don't think your money is just going to snatch up any women that you think. Because women getting money out here now. Women in different tax brackets now. Like, it's like,
we get
for a lot of women, right? For a lot of women, you can't just come to them. You can't just come to them and tell them, wow, you know, I make this in my... They're like, well, I'm making that too. Right? So
actually, I make more.
Right. So we have to understand that in 2021, we're in different dynamics, different scenarios. There's so many things that are different. So in the dating world, you want to make sure that you understand.
So cute today.
You always cute, girl.
I mean,
You want to understand what's really happening. So expectations are an important thing.
Definitely.
So I want to get to my first point. She went over hers, right? And that was a great point. It kind of led us down a 15-minute conversation, but that's a great point. You know, evaluating why you broke up. I love that point. That was great. Point number 1 for me is honesty.
I mean, isn't that the same as expectations? I mean, I guess that's going into expectations. Like,
yes, I'm giving a little bit more rounded aspect of honesty, right? Honesty, yes, begins with expectations.
Well, no. Go, whatever.
Right? So if let's just say you want to get back in the dating world after a breakup, and all of this is assuming that you've done your due diligence before you start dating again to make sure you are in the healthiest place possible. TryForEverLove.com to help you get into that healthy place. Back to our regular scheduled programming. TryForEverLove.com.
4, the number 4, y'all.
Yes, the number 4. Right? So, honesty.
You know what it is? I'm sorry to cut you off.
Not cut you off all the time.
I think I'm why I be yarning because I'm sitting down.
And when you sit down, yes.
You know, my energy levels like.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay.
So.
Okay. Back
honesty, right?
Schedule programming.
Honesty.
Honesty.
Right? My wife is very random, if y'all haven't learned over the years.
I am.
So honesty, and this is why this is an important point. If you're not honest about where you are and what you want from day one, you're going to go down the road thinking that things are going to be a certain way or hope things are a certain way. And when things don't pan out that way, guess what's going to end up happening? You're going to be disappointed. You're going to be disappointed because you did not be honest in the beginning. So, and that's a general statement, and that can go many different ways, okay?
I thought we were talking about after a breakup.
No, we're talking, right, dating after a breakup. So, assuming you did all your due diligence and you become a healthier person.
So when you get back into
the dating world and you go on that first date, right?
Gotcha.
You need to get in the habit of being honest, okay? Saying, hey, I
was like, hold on, we talking about, okay.
So for example,
I don't know where.
When you go on the first date after a breakup, right? Assuming you've done your due diligence, becoming a better, healthier individual. On that first date, as you're talking and getting to know each other, you have to have some honesty to that. You have to say, hey, listen, in my last relationship, these things happened and I'm past that now, but I want to lay my expectations out so I don't repeat the same mistakes, right? You're not dwelling on the past, you're just kind of highlighting it to present your future. And you may say, hey, I want to get married one day, right? Is that something you want? Is it something you want? And if that person says, I don't know, if you keep down that road, that I don't know could become a no.
Right.
But what keeps you going is that I don't know could become a yes. And for a lot of people, that's just one small example, right? Don't forget your point. But that small example, it can be anything, right? Do you want kids? They may say, I don't know. They may say no. They may say yes, right? All these different things you have to lay out in honesty. You have to be honest about yourself, right? You have to be honest about what you want. You have to be honest about what you need. So just generally speaking, you have to be as transparent as possible when you're going back into the dating world. You have to be honest with yourself. You have to be honest with yourself to the point that you have to be brutally tough on yourself. Even when you get home and you say, you know what? I wasn't feeling this date and I'm just not going to go on the second date with this person, right? Don't waste time. Be honest about what you want, what you like, what you don't like. Don't just fill time. Don't just fill voids so you're not lonely. Yes, because both will say they want to get married, but one is lying. Lord, is somebody speaking from experience? Lord.
But I guess to go off of your point, like that's true that, you'll be able to, you're saying, being, what am I trying to say? Okay, so you said that being honest, but also that's where the questioning in comes in. Like, what kind of questions are you asking? Like, that's why we always say that it's good to start asking those questions in the beginning. Like, even if your first date, this is what he says, the first date, like, you should be asking questions off the back. Like, the hardest questions that people normally wouldn't answer or ask because it can be you're wasting time. Like,
and I can understand why people wouldn't want to ask the hard questions.
Right.
Trust me, I'm human. I get it.
Yeah. I mean, it can be, it can be a turn off for some people.
It can.
It's one of those like, hey, I'm trying to get to know you, just like.
Yeah. But I think the premise is this: is that if you're in the dating world and you're getting back into dating after a breakup, and you have a certain goal, you want to be married, you want kids, you want a family, you want a career, whatever it is, you have to be able to say, right, hey, this is what I want, this is what I need, so I want to ask you some questions so that I don't waste my time.
Give some examples.
Well, examples. Do you want to have children?
So, for example, you mean like
your first date questions? Like what kind of questions would you ask?
Our producers that telling us to give examples. Examples like what?
Yeah, questions.
The questions for the first
like
date.
on the first date?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I can do that. So, for example, one of the questions I always tell people.
So my question wasn't good enough?
No, I thought you wanted me to add another one.
Oh.
Could you say it? Go ahead.
Add it.
No, you just said
You have to go on this whole long, elongated statement when you could just say the question.
Well, the audience have to know what we're talking about.
They do know what we're talking about. We just said it.
But you told me to say one thing.
Oh my gosh.
The producer told me what to ask questions, and then you asked the question, and then you told me to go, and then I went to go, and then you said, "But what about my question?" So I stopped so that we can focus on your question.
Okay, go.
Now, when you say go, are you saying go about your question or my question?
Go about your question.
Now you just said.
Marlon.
I'm just saying.
Oh my God.
So you want me to go on your question?
Oh, your question.
On my question.
Your question.
Okay.
You don't have to elongate it.
All right.
Elongated man.
So I don't know where I am right now, because I am confused.
What question? What's the questions that you was gonna ask? What is the question that you would ask for dating? On the first date.
So the questions that I would ask on the first date that I would encourage people to ask are questions like this.
Okay.
All right. That's what I was trying to say when she cut me off, saying I was long-winded.
Right.
So the question is, right? Number one. Matter of fact, I could pull up the questions. I can pull up the questions.
You can't even come up the top of your dome right now?
What?
All right.
Well, I want to give...
That's a good one, Dalton. Where do you see yourself in 2 years?
Mm-hmm. That's a great question. But people gonna lie. So, let me see. I'm joking. I kid.
No, he's serious. He's real life. Like you said, what about the dating? What's it called?
Now, I'm gonna tell you right now. I document everything. Because I was writing a book on this, but maybe one day.
One day soon.
All right. So, one example of a question. How do you handle pressure?
I wouldn't even know how to answer that.
See, this is why I wanted to pull up the questions, because I wanted to use a great example since they told me to give an example. So I am giving you a prime example. When you ask somebody, how do you handle pressure? What do you think they're going to say?
Nigga, I don't know.
Okay, that's not going to be their response.
Okay, I mean, pressure, this feels like a lot of pressure that you're asking me this question. You'd be like this,
See, I'm giving y'all one-on-one tutoring. TryForeverLove.com. I will get you where you need to be.
But Marlon, everybody can't
you
answer
told
that
me
question, though.
Exactly. And this is my point.
Okay, but you gotta prepare people
and
for this
is my
stuff.
point. But this is my point. See, the questions...
But what if people don't really know?
So somebody's texting me about the live. I'm watching y'all talk. Okay. So for example, when you ask a certain question on a date, you're asking so that you can get a better understanding of the person.
Yes.
Sometimes we don't know what questions to ask, right? So y'all told me to give an example.
I know that.
And so here's what happened just now. I gave an example of
that
a question.
That made me look really dumb, though, on the first date. Yes, it did, because I'm like...
Now, I'm going to tell you why. Sometimes the question...
That was really philosophical and...
But look, here's the thing. Sometimes the question is not necessarily about getting the answer. It's about laying an understanding and a dynamic of where you are mentally. What are you thinking about? What are your goals? Right? When you start questioning like that on first date, people think you're intense.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing.
They're saying the first date. Now, we understand. I mean, he says first date, but for me, I might say... second week, we might get into that. Or
just for everybody can understand, right? First date, we're not literally saying the first date. So that's kind of like our figurative way of saying within the first few dates. But I'm going to be the devil's advocate right now. And I'm going to say these are questions you should ask on the first date. And here's why. People are too afraid of how they're going to look on the first date. And that's how you end up getting trapped. Because that first date, if you don't lay down a foundation of your expectations and who you are and what you want and what you desire and really put it out there, you might be setting yourself up to be pulled in and rope-a-doped in that first date. In that first date and in that first conversation, especially my women. See, y'all getting me riled up now. Especially my women. Because once they wrap you around their finger in that first date with the ones who know how to talk, and you ain't really being, thank you, facts. I got some real people watching. Listen, if you are not centered on what you want, the importance of it, prime example. Let's just go back to the question.
Okay.
Because once they wrap you around their finger, man or woman, what happens is, we get so wrapped up in, ooh, I had such a great time. Or, man, that girl, man, I can't stop thinking about it. And that's great. That's great to feel like that about a person. But sometimes we get so wrapped up that we lose common sense. And we get so wrapped up dating, especially after a breakup, we get so wrapped up that we lose common sense. We get airheaded. We tend to lose sight of what's important.
Yeah, you triggered something too. That is funny because...
You see how this question triggered all this? Yeah.
Okay, so I look at it too, though, but because you're saying, being able to take that conversation or being wrapped up in that. Okay, I understand that. I agree with you, but of course, as you coming to me asking me that question, I'd be looking at it like, sir, who are you to asking me, I feel like I'm pressured right now. You asked me this, and I don't even know how to respond. But for me, that would be very intriguing. So to me, I would look at that like, oh, wow. I never thought that somebody never asked me a question like that to make me think. That really wants to see my internals. Well, see what's going on in my mind.
So I probably need to put this book out on that.
Yes, you do. But A lot of people can use that and manipulate. They know how to do that and manipulate you, men.
Yes.
Because that's how you get to a female, through her mind. Once
Yep.
you have her mind,
Exactly. Exactly. So let's go back to the question, right? How do you handle pressure? So that question in and of itself, let's walk through it.
okay.
How do you handle pressure? The person may say, well, what do you mean? I'm pretty sure they're going to be like, well, what does that mean? Especially on the first date.
Right.
Here's what you say. What I'm asking you is this. Tell me about when you lost it all. How did you feel? How did you work through that? And I don't want to hear the good side. I want to hear the bad side.
This sounds like a speed dating question, too.
Were you depressed?
Don't be taking our ideas.
How did you handle
Try
being at
to
the
have a
bottom? Like, and what I'm saying is, see, now you're sparking dialogue that's intellectual and more deep than the basic, what's your favorite color? What's your favorite food? Oh, you look so good tonight, right? So what we're saying is,
I agree with that, Clara. If a guy's asking it versus a female.
oh, yes. Yes, but it doesn't have to be. Because if you ask a woman, how do you handle pressure? Matter of fact, watch this. There are men right now, if I were to bring them on this live, I'm not going to, but if I were to bring them on this live, right? If I were to bring them on this live and say, how many of you are dating women who can't handle pressure? I want you to know that I can almost guarantee you that more than 50% of men would say, man, my woman can't handle nothing. Like she trip over everything. And I guarantee you, if I bring women on, if they were to be honest and say,
My next question.
if men can handle pressure, when that baby come, how he acting? When the bills get tight, how he acting?
How you gonna act?
Right? All these different things. How well do you handle pressure? Dalton, like first date, most people gonna shut down or just lie. Very true, right? But see, these questions are designed to create a dynamic to where you can't lie as well as you could. Because you can't get around real conversation that you don't expect is coming.
Yeah.
See, not to make this sound like a manipulative mind game, because it's not. So don't manipulate people, y'all. That's wrong. What I'm simply saying is, on a first date, you have to ask questions that will spark real conversation that will help you understand this person. Whether it's the first date, second date, or third date. You shouldn't be wasting your time asking questions like, what cartoons did you watch growing up? Like, okay, cool. You watch cartoons growing up. That is not, okay. We just have to be more honest about the dating scene today and what we're dealing with, right? Let me give you another question. And I'm going to give you a good one. If I were to tell you to list your insecurities right now, what would they be? Yes. See, people don't want to reveal their insecurities on the first few dates. Why? Because we're always trying to present an image. So the question becomes, what are you trying to hide from the person trying to get to know you? And why are you hiding that? And why don't you want them to know these things? You want them to marry you without knowing? You want them to date you for 10 weeks without knowing? So now I got them. Now they got to stay. Like, see, these are the things we got to start being honest about.
But would people really be honest about their
They might not. But people will know up front that you're not playing no games. They will know up front that you're not playing no games. And if we can just be honest, you can tell when people are BSing you. Like, you can tell when somebody's not genuine. If you're not gullible or too lonely and desperate. So my point is, right? And granted, a lot of people may disagree with me. And that is perfectly fine. I'm not saying I've cornered the market on this. But I am telling you that I know what I'm talking about. And I am telling you that I've seen it from experience. And I am telling you that through all the people that I've counseled, all the couples I've counseled, the individual singles that I've counseled, the married couples, the engaged couples, I am telling you the stuff that I've seen from experience. And all of these things that I see help me come up with 101 questions to ask on a first date. Why? Because people are wasting time. People are wasting time, and they don't want to admit the fact that they're trying to hide certain things about themselves so that they don't lose out on getting somebody. We are afraid to be vulnerable with people. Why? Because we're so busy trying to get someone. And the problem is, if you will really just be honest and be vulnerable, a lot of times you'll end up with the right person up jump because you will have much more in common. Mm-hmm. But see, you want somebody to find out 2 years later that you ain't got no sense. You want somebody to find out 5 years later that you don't know how to manage money. You want somebody to find out 3 years. See, y'all got me on the tangent now. Let me calm down. Let me calm down.
You found out later, didn't you?
You're not bad with managing money. You ain't the best, but you ain't bad.
Marlon Anderson.
You're not bad. You're not bad.
No, you still said I'm not the best.
But you're not bad.
No.
Let me tell you, my wife.
Oh my gosh.
Now listen.
Here we go.
Commercial.
I wasn't even talking about money.
Commercial break.
I was talking about me being crazy or something.
Oh yeah, she's a little crazy. But I was speaking of money, so I thought you was so. Commercial break. TryForeverLove.com. The number 4. TryForeverLove.com. Here for all your relationship needs. Singles, dating, engaged, marriage, whatever you want, we can provide your service. All I want to tell you is get your butt on that TryForeverLove.com and book a session. Consultation is free. Now, back to our regular scheduled programming. My wife is not bad with managing money. She's very frugal, to be honest. She's very frugal, which is a good thing. And I love that because I'm frugal. Now, we will spend money on the things that we feel are very important. Yeah. But typically, all of the money we save being frugal, right, it adds up to, being in our bank accounts and things of that nature. So we're pretty good. So, but for all relationships, you're not going to learn everything, right? Even when you get married, you're going to learn small things. But what I'm saying is it's possible to get all of that shock value out the way before you get in a serious relationship by asking the right questions. But let's get back on topic.
They loving this though.
Do y'all want to know more questions to ask on the first date? If so, just let me know. And we'll keep going. And I can give you more off the top of my head that's not in the book. But point number 2, when you're dating after a breakup, right? I'm gonna go to my 2 and then she's gonna go to her 2. Cause I'm flowing right now. Point number 2.
Just take it over, Marlon.
Point number 2. That's right. She giving me free range to take it over. Give me that free range later too. Hey! Praise the Lord. TryForeverLove.com. I can get you that type of play too. Sorry, that was the wrong commercial break.
Stop hyping him up.
In the marriage bed, of course. Point number 2.
Oh my God.
That was the Ace Ventura rewind. Point number 2. Dating after a breakup. Point number 2. Y'all,
we had like number 3.
Listen to me very clearly when I say this. Point number 2. If you're going to date after a breakup, would you please, for the life of everyone living, please give that person a clean slate. Don't bring your baggage and your history and your past to that dinner table.
Oh, okay.
Like, please, y'all, somebody is kind enough to go on a date with you. Because sometimes we got to humble ourselves. Somebody is kind enough to go on a date with you. They saw something in you that they liked. Do not make them regret it by not giving them a clean slate. Give that person a clean slate. Don't come to the table on that date with that person, okay? And start bringing up all your hurt and past and history.
Well, you said be honest.
No. This is no. Let's get this straight right now. Whatever.
But I'm just being honest. I'm gonna let you know how he treated me, and I don't like this. I don't be this, and do you this?
That right there is a sign of somebody who's hurt, and they haven't gotten it, and they have not gotten into a healthy space. Yeah. So they don't need to be dating. Yep. I said that in the beginning.
Yep. I know, but I'm just letting you know. So this was happening.
If anybody ever do that to y'all, politely get up from the table, leave the check with them, and walk out. You save yourself a lot of trouble, right? But the reality is this. Once you've moved on and you start dating again, give that new person a clean slate. Get to know them. Let them prove themselves trustworthy. Let them prove themselves to be somebody who will be a good partner. Let them prove themselves, again, to gain your trust, your time, your attention, etc. Give them an opportunity, right? Don't sabotage it because of your past. And if you do, you shouldn't be dating in the first place because you're not over your past. Point number 2 for you.
Oh, I can do my point?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I thought you was on the
I'm going to bring my joint down a level.
Yeah.
Because I get passionate
down
about
a level?
this.
What you trying to say?
I get passionate about relationships.
First of all,
because I want to see.
down a level? What
Listen.
you saying I'm down a level?
No. Where did you get that from?
Because you said I'm going to bring it down a level.
No, meaning my energy. Because relationship talk gets me passionate sometimes. Because I genuinely want to see people happy.
Oh.
Like I genuinely don't make me seem soft and weak. Pride. That's an inside joke. So I genuinely want to see people happy and flourishing in their relationships and eventually marriage. I genuinely love to see that. And God has given me a gift to help people get to that point. And so my passion comes simply from really wanting people to experience that, because I believe it's a gift from God. And I don't want people to ruin it by not doing the due diligence of becoming the healthiest person that they could possibly become before they start dating.
Amen.
Point number 2 for you.
Oh, you done?
I'm done.
Okay. What was your last point again?
You worry about your point.
I wanted to flow into it. Dang. Okay, so I would say also.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Being able to take the time to evaluate your self relationship. So I look at it as, well, when you think about, like, when you're after a breakup, well, dating after a breakup. Well, no, I'm sorry. After a breakup, you want to be able to say, what does your self relationship look like? What does your relationship with yourself look like?
That's
like,
good.
were you whole? Like, were you a person did you feel like you were whole inside of the relationship? The reason why you did break up? Did you take the time to learn yourself? Or are you learning yourself more after the relationship? Were you able to be selfless in your prior relationship? Being able to because a lot of us, the reason why we break up, we may be selfish. You know, it's like, what about me? What about this? And then the other person's like, I'm here in the relationship too, so it's supposed to be 100, 100, not 50, 50, 25, 75. Like, you're supposed to be giving your side of it and giving 100% to me, and then giving 100% back, getting 100% back in that relationship. So if you are going into a relationship thinking it's about you, then of course it's gonna be a part where you're saying, hey, I don't wanna, this relationship is not going to work because you're not thinking about the other individual. And relationships are not about you, they're about the other individual. Not what you can gain, but what you can give in that relationship. And I think that's the biggest thing that a lot of people, we go into relationships after relationship because we're desiring something for ourselves versus getting something that we need. And just looking off that is like, you think about it, like a lot of us want to go, I want, but you're like, God is like, no, this is what you need. This is what you need. You need to be having the thing that you need that's going to sustain you, that's going to continue to allow you to build on with one another. Because God, the whole reason why he brought us together, why you say Adam and Eve, like we go back to our pinpoint, like why he brought them together is because Adam needed someone that looked like him to be able to help him to go out and do the works that God has created them to be in their purpose. So, when we look at that in our relationships, like, if you broke up with someone and it was because of how if it's on your side or your end, why they're like, they couldn't handle you or they couldn't handle what was going on. It's like now you have to get back to yourself and be like, okay, what are the things that you need to do to be able to meet that goal to become more selfless and more about the other individual, because that's what it's all about.
Yeah, and I think my wife is highlighting a very important piece. There's a period after a breakup where you have to do some self-evaluation. Like when she said evaluating your self-relationship after a breakup, the first thing I thought about was, how do you handle your own company?
Yeah.
Like, do you find yourself mad a lot, irritable, frustrated? You know, do you find yourself always needing to be around somebody? Like, all these are different signs of real issues within the individual that don't get addressed for a lot of people before they get into a dating relationship with somebody else. Because remember, when you break up with somebody, that's almost like tearing yourself apart, kind of like.
Yeah.
It's like tearing a sheet of paper in half. You could tape it back together, you could staple it back together, but, you know, it's a little bit difficult. But, you know, to her point, if you don't do that evaluation before you start dating again, you're going to carry a lot of issues and baggage, as we talked about earlier, into your new dating opportunities.
Yeah.
And our passion with doing things like this really began with, you know, us being in a relationship, getting married, and us talking about it kind of turned into people saying, hey, y'all got to do this more. And that's what we've been doing ever since, right? And from it, I started a company called Forever Love. And so with Forever Love, we really do a lot of educational work with individuals, dating couples, engaged couples, and married couples to help them get to the best and most healthy place possible. And I have it's a very unorthodox way sometimes that I go about it, but the results are the same. Simply because, not for each person, but the results for what we try to accomplish for each individual situation are the same, simply because we attack it from an honest place.
Yeah.
And when you deal with it from an honest place, your outcome is going to be something that you can be proud of. But ultimately, as I was hearing my wife talk about that aspect of it, it's like the real issue becomes, once you break up, did you learn a lot about yourself?
Yeah.
See, after a breakup, that's one of the most important times to evaluate yourself.
Yeah, that's why you say it's important to take that year before you even go into another relationship. A year can sound like a long time, but it's so much that happens within that year or months, or just being able to, things that come up, different seasons may trigger another emotion, like especially summertime. Oh gosh, being able to travel and do different things. Well, you ain't traveling too much in COVID, but but
some states like COVID what? COVID who?
Right, but it's certain things in those seasons or those times that, like Christmas and Thanksgiving, and you got birthdays, and so much that happens in 1 year that can trigger these things that you never thought that you even had in your relationship. So when we look at that, it's like, what are you why aren't you being able to take care of yourself? And I know that everybody's out here talking about self-care this, self-care that, but literally, what are you doing to really take care of your mental state, take care of your emotional state, take care of your spiritual state?
Thing.
Yeah, because
the self-care thing is going too far.
Yeah, but it's in
a lot of ways.
But it's like the original point of self-care, or what it looks like, because a lot of people were taking self-care as a selfish thing versus it really doing something for you that's really going to help you be better. For example, my heart goes out to women who has children, for example, right? This is just a random thought as you were talking. A lot of women who have children and are not married, they do desire to be married. Mm-hmm. And they're dating somebody right now, and they're waiting for that moment for them to get on that knee, right? And to really, get married. But
you see so many times where that situation doesn't pan out for people. And the question becomes why? Simply, so my point is, what I'm trying to get to is, when you break up with somebody, or when you are coming out of a situation with your baby father, right? You have to evaluate things. You have to evaluate yourself. And the reason why I'm talking directly right at this very moment to single women with kids is because you're the most delicate thing, I believe, in God's eyes. Because you're raising a child, you deserve, well, I don't want to say you deserve, but you know, you're raising a child, you know, there's a lot stacked up against you, you know, a lot goes into that, and the home needs a male in it. So I want to see people get married, but I see so many times where single women make the same mistake over and over and over again, you know, not really doing their due diligence for them as a person, but just jumping into the next situation, desiring marriage, desiring, you know, companionship and all these things. And it's like, we have to do a better job of being more diligent with ourselves and our feelings, our emotions, and healing from the last situation. Yeah. We can't stress that enough. You got to heal from the last situation.
And a lot of people think that, you know, they're like, oh, I'm good, I'm fine. But then they get in that relationship, they look at it and say...
And it comes out.
It comes out, like, it comes out like, woof, like fire at times. And it's just like, the other person's like, where did this come from? You know, being able to, trying to figure out, like, what happened. Like, I thought you were good. But that's where it comes into honesty, too. You know, I think a lot of people... I can think of several situations where people that will jump into a relationship, say for instance, you may have been in a marriage for so many years, and then after you've been used to being within a marriage, you know, we're talking about a marriage, you know, for years, and you're used to being, you know, sharing with someone, and then all of a sudden you get a divorce, or it's a separation. The divorce is not even final. What show were you watching last night? 911. 911. Yeah, so just thinking about how, you know, some people jump into a relationship when the divorce is not even final. You know, like you know, even though you may have felt separated or away from each other in that that time that you decided to really sign the paperwork, it's still some emotional baggage or emotional things that you need to take care of as a person. So it's like a lot of people jump into relationships because they're so used to having that companionship, and it's so dangerous, so dangerous. And, you know, that's why the person that they may be dating has to think about that too. It's like, you know, you want the person so bad that you want to be their fixer-upper or their counselor or whatever, but you're not doing nothing to like really help, because you're actually being in a relationship with them. Yeah. You know, does that make sense? Like you're the person that is trying to counsel them, but you're giving them relationship advice. But you're in a relationship with them, and you're doing all the things that you would do in a relationship, but they're not completely healed. Like, you know, that can be a sticky situation. But I digress.
And I'm gonna give my last point. I got a few, but I'm gonna just give this one last point, then we're gonna wrap it up.
Something bit me.
Oh, good. So. Healed in the name.
Okay.
Healed in the name.
All right. Okay.
You need more healing?
No. Okay. I mean, yes. But
healed in the name.
No.
Healed in the name. Healed in the name.
Okay, chill out, bro.
All right. You need more healing?
Do you need more healing?
That was a smart one. I thought you were going to walk into it again. So here's my last point, and we're going to wrap up for the night. Like, walk into are you healed again? And you be like, no, yes. Do you want healing? Yes, no, yes.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah. All right, so last point. For whatever you do, listen to the words that are coming out of my mouth.
Can you hear the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Listen to this, y'all. If you are dating again after a breakup, and you've already done your due diligence, with healing properly in the best way you can. Here's a piece of advice that I encourage you to highly consider. In no way, shape, or form, don't ever, whether you're mad or not, compare your ex to the new person you're dating. Don't do it.
Why not?
Don't do it.
Why not?
Don't. It should be self-explanatory. I hope I don't have to explain why.
I mean, sometimes you gotta let them know how to twirl it. If you liked it twirled or flipped.
No.
You know, a little.
See, you talking marriage stuff.
No, it's just.
See, you don't got to bring up your ex to tell your. You don't got to bring up the ex to tell your new person.
First of all,
how you like it.
You better not be trying to do no new trick, no old tricks.
See.
I'm just look.
See,
don't be pouring old wine into new wineskins. I mean, well, that's that was in the Bible.
So listen.
Old wine or new wine.
Yeah, you screwed that one up.
Whatever. You still said it with me.
But whatever you do, do not, y'all. Do not compare your ex with the person you're dating. It's inappropriate. It's not necessary. And all it does is create more problems. And what it does is it highlights the fact that you're not over your ex. Because if you're comparing your ex with your new person, you're probably comparing them in the sense of what the new person isn't doing versus what the old person did do.
Yeah.
And that just screams you shouldn't be dating. So, again,
go back to the ex.
Let's just say
ex for a reason.
Yes.
Or she.
But let's just say you are truly over your ex.
Me.
Let's just say you truly are over your ex. Even still, don't compare the old person with the new person. It's unnecessary. Build a life with the person that is new, or go forward with the person that is new, and understand that this is new. Do not compare. Because it's easy to be in a conversation at dinner and you just slip into a conversation talking about, where you have traveled, right? Mm-hmm. And let's just say the person you're dating hasn't really traveled that much. Or let's just say the person you're dating don't like to travel. And your mind start thinking about, well, my ex, they will always travel. We went here and we went here. And you also broke up here and there. So let's not do that. Don't start comparing, because in that moment, what you'll do, for example, you'll start comparing like, well, dang, my ex will always travel. I can't be in a basic relationship. Or, she don't travel. Like, man, she whack, she born. It's like, listen, it's okay to be honest about what you don't want, and that's fine. But don't compare. Give that person a chance to be themselves with a clean slate.
And it can be difficult, and it can be hard. But
that's my wife being nice.
I mean, what? It can be difficult and hard. Marlon, if you've been with somebody for 10 years...
Well, you need to be single for 10 years till you detox.
But still, it can be difficult.
I'm joking,
y'all.
I'm joking.
Expect that the new person is going to do what they're going to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, if
I
you're
get
used
it.
to something
But you got to...
a certain way.
You're right. I get it. I'm just joking, y'all. I just want people to be careful and be wary of the fact that when you start comparing your new with your old, it can get ugly very fast. Yeah. And you can end up missing out on something very good. Mm-hmm. Simply because you're too busy focusing on the small, minor things that this person doesn't have versus the other 10 to 15 things compared to the 2 that they do have. Yeah. And it happens all the time.
Yeah. That's true, though.
Yeah.
That's true.
Did you want to highlight another point? Are you done?
No, I'm done.
Yes. Because she got a lot to do tonight. So I'm going to get her off this live so she can cook. That's right. Women need to be in the kitchen. That's
First of all,
tryforeverlove.com. I'll get your wife doing whatever you want. That's a joke, y'all. It's a joke. It's a joke. It's a jokey joke.
I got your joke.
Oh, Molly Marr, just joking.
Just joking. Jerome in the house.
I mean, Jerome in the house. Sally, Pong, Sally. Oh, Otis, huh? Oh, you think you got one over on Otis, huh?
What's your... Okay, you done? You finished?
I was thinking about Bob from work. He's me, oh man, she's out of control, Pam's out of control, this whole party's out of control. Get here fast. Yo, Martin is the greatest show to ever grace a television.
This is what I married y'all.
Oh my goodness. Other shows are great in their dynamics.
Yes.
Like Walking Dead, that has some GOAT status to it. Sons of Anarchy.
I've never watched Son of Anarchy.
I'm just saying,
so
that got some GOAT stuff to it. You know, the Fresh Princes, but Martin is just in his own
special,
you know, category. You know what I mean? So, but appreciate y'all joining in, man. I know sometimes we can be a fool, we can be long-winded, we can be jokesters, we can play a lot. But that's why you watch us.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate you watching us. If you want to bless us, please.
What do you mean?
Huh?
What do you mean bless?
I said bless us. Oh my gosh. Just follow Try Forever Love. Try, TRY, 4, ever, love.com.
Oh, you mean like give some money?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Support the movement, man. Support Forever Love. We're just out here trying to make people, you know, listen, man. We're just out here trying to make sure people are living their lives in a healthy way and a happy way in their relationships. Even as singles, especially singles.
Yeah.
Here's what I've learned. I'm going to leave y'all with this. Healthy single people make great spouses.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree with that. I definitely agree. Listen, I would really wish that I would have learned half of the stuff that I learned before I got married, in my marriage, if I would have just stayed the course as a single lady.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why are we having this awkward silence? Okay, y'all, we love y'all. And
So y'all, just to let y'all know, sometimes I do awkward silent stuff just to see her be like, what? What? Why you silent? What?
because when I finally talk, that's when he get real quiet, and he probably be zoned out on me too. So yeah.
Hey, same to you, Dalton. Appreciate you, man. Yes, definitely catch us next week. I love y'all. We are out. See y'all soon.